Hello, my name is Don Thompson, and I am a second semester, basically going into my senior year. So as of right now, I could be in between junior and senior, and I'm a transfer student to the Florida A&M. My major is criminal justice, and the title of my research paper is Connecting Crimes. Um, Basically, there are three areas that I'm going to be connecting throughout the research paper, and those three things are gender bias, victimization, and class or social class. Um, all in all, there were different things that you can take from each topic as it relates to the criminal justice system or various crime ideologies. I do think that each of the subjects are very relatable as well. As I found different sources and formulated the overall research paper. One of the main points or one of the main subjects that I think is probably good mentioned throughout the paper is class and as it relates to criminology. In class, as we know, there are usually three main points that a person could be in most structured governments or communities. It would start with the lower end, which is lower class, then the middle, obviously middle class, and then the upper class. Um, and in my opinion, there's always information or things within each of those. For example, throughout my paper, there is a reference that will be mentioned, and it basically goes with one of my figures, and it will show you that not only that there is a lower class, there is a area in between lower class that is not necessarily going to middle or upper class. So it could be an example of low to middle class, or it could be an example of middle to upper class. Some people say neither one of those exists, but I do think they're all pretty much relevant when you're discussing crimes, uh, different access to things, whether you could be a victim of certain things or not. Um, there's definitely a difference between a person that already have access to upper class uh, materials or equities such as housing, or maybe they own a apartment complex. They're not going to be facing the same type of things that a lower class person would be facing. Uh, for example, lower class people tend to uh, potentially be victims to more things around their community. Not a lot of people, whether they're educated or not too educated, put all of that information together when they're going on a day to day. So, for example, a quote here that I have from the gender bias section uh, refers to a book by Buchan back in 2020. It says the power of Murphy's brilliant documentary derived from its subversive humor in suggesting not only that white people treat each other much more differently than they treat Black people, which is clearly true. And that was the end quote. Um, I would just have to honestly say, to wrap up, class is, it does seem to be a better idea if you are in an impoverished area to maybe want to say education or different things that will continue to extend your life. I know we're wrapping up, so victimization is also towards the end of my paper, as I already mentioned, class. And victimization is just different patterns that you might can notice for certain groups. And it can start from crime, and it can also connect to abuse. And then there's just a cycle that either it is made aware to certain people, such as leadership in our governments, or it's not necessarily um, made aware. But I did find out that victimization patterns obviously can influence poverty, unemployment. Um, it's just all in all, each of these things connect each other. And I do have different models that will just go over the basics again as it goes over class for victimization. You can just go ahead and start with an area of household income. That is possibly just related to victimization for the simple fact that there are certain households that are just not going to be dealing with the same things from someone on the lower end of class. So lower end victimizations can, I don't know, as often as we hear and see, potentially be around different violence, maybe gun violence. Somebody that's upper class that maybe think about planning for a nice vacation or something, they probably are not going to deal with that type of stuff on a regular day basis. So this does pretty much wrap up some of the things I'm speaking. I'm going over the minutes, most likely. Um, and yeah, in conclusion, I just feel that we do need to continue not only having policies, but we need to continue to make sure that, there's different representations all across the board. Um, People that obviously are educated, that experience these things, and people that may not necessarily experience these things should always continue to work together and probably reshape a lot of our ways of how we go about with connecting crimes and criminology, because I do feel that there's a longer road that can continue to aid us all in just advancing in our country. So thank you.